I'm going to be focusing on the ethos and thinking of the company, the Designers Republic, and therefore mainly on Ian Anderson, who is the founder. Getting into contact with them was difficult as they closed a few years ago and therefore I couldn't find any offices to go to. I tried to email them but I got no reply. However, I found that they have a Facebook page which is updated quite regularly, and through this found that they have quite a large following of fans and people who are going crazy for their work. In fact, the Designers Republic started off with Ian designing flyers for clubs he ran, then bands started coming to him to design their record sleeves, so clearly he got more work because people liked what he did. He says becoming a designer wasn't a conscious decision and he never studied design, but creating these album covers he realised he was more interested in his creativity than managing bands, and so the Designers Republic began to grow as more bands started coming to him for work. He has since done work for companies such as Coca-Cola and Nickelodeon, therefore going global. And clearly he's not just an expert of promotional material for clients, but also for himself. He has created a kind of brand from the Designers Republic, or continuity of aesthetics, of ethos. I really didn't understand the thinking for this logo at first, but in multiple interviews I have noticed him being referred to as Angry Man, and the caption on this photograph of a 3D version of his logo is titled TDR Angry Man. And I realised the pink V looks like scrunched eyebrows, and realised the logo as a whole looks like a little man or some kind of robot. I imagine this refers to his anti-consumerist, anti-establishment ideas. It is also quite simple and bold, and therefore it represents his style in that way. It also looks like an icon for a game, which I think has been done intentionally to reference his work in gaming. He even sells merchandise, such as t-shirts, which kind of allows fans to buy into his brand. At first I thought this was hypocritical, as he seems to have this anti-consumerist view of the world, and yet he is in a way exploiting his fans. However, I realise that it is one thing for major corporations to make you buy things you do not need through manipulation, and a completely different thing for a designer to simply create beautiful things that people want because they find them beautiful. You can even see comments on their Facebook page like, "When are you going to make more merchandise? I have money, don't you want it?" People want these things because they enjoy their work and want to own it, just like fans of musicians want posters and t-shirts as memorabilia of concerts and songs. In fact, in reading about them, I've learned about the importance of creating your own brand, because it's like creating your own identity. Creating a brand means developing a manifesto and staying true to your identity. Ian believes their work connects with fans because there's always a message in what they do. There's a sense of authorship and there's a flow. And the fact that even when they're working with clients, there's a strong Designers Republic voice. I think that this is important for a designer because in a way it's a reflection of your personality, not just a selling point. He compares himself to brands like Levi's, saying that we buy into certain brands because they have created a story that we want to buy into. He describes his work as applied thinking, applied visually. It is more about concepts than aesthetics. There's always a reasoning to what they do. The things that interest him are the thinking behind it, the communication and the message. It's about creating a dialogue with an unseen correspondent and trying to provoke a response. And he says maybe the people who like the Designers Republic are those that are suitably provoked. He finds the most satisfying projects those which allow him to challenge perceptions and come up with creative solutions that go beyond expectations. He sees graphic designers as problem solvers, visual communicators and visionaries rather than stylists who simply arrange type, colour and image. I find something he said about design inspiring. He says, "I think it is important for a creative to be able to listen to a question, analyse what is being asked, understand the problem and know how to communicate the solution to the appropriate audience." In some ways I see him as one of these marketing geniuses who know how to get into our heads to make us buy things. But then again, I think his intention is not to make people think that their lives will be better if they buy a product, but rather to make them think about certain ideas and to create something interesting which people will want to buy because they like the story behind it. He says that when you work with commercial clients, he tries to get them to understand that if you ask a question, then people are more likely to respond to it and actually try your product. The work he creates for clients helps them to say, "This is who we are," and then people can choose to buy into that if they like it and if they can relate to it. He says some projects are satisfying because of their scope, such as global campaigns, while others are satisfying because they work as reductions of universal ideas to single visual expressions, such as his CD packaging for Ortika's Oversteps. He has actually created a poster for the recent Parkinson's awareness campaign, which I first heard of from Vaughan, who also created a poster for it. There were many different aesthetic approaches by different designers, but the key focus was raising awareness about some of the most frightening symptoms of Parkinson's, and I think that kind of sums up how design should be as well, as we all have our own style and approach to design projects, but the important thing is that we communicate important things like this to audiences in a way they can understand or in a way which provokes a response. As Ian said, I think it is more constructive to applaud the initiative or any initiative to engage creative minds in helping tackle worthwhile issues beyond selling fizzy drinks, sports shoes and walkie-talkies. Ian has also recently created events where people could come and see their work and talk to him directly about it, and I think he might also be a lecturer at the Manchester School of Art, which I think shows he enjoys design, and as seen from his events where he actually takes the time to talk to people, he wants to share his ideas and knowledge about design. Also, the more I looked into the company, the more I found a sort of patriotism in Ian's ethos for his hometown of Sheffield. He has recently created a series of collaborative projects called Feeling Good Together in Sheffield, which involve creating this A1 printed and downloadable publication showcasing work from some of Sheffield's creatives, which Ian sees talent in but who have not gained commercial success. It is clear he has a passion for good design, not for the money. They even gave it away for free, which I suppose does make the money in another way, as it is promotional not only for the artists being showcased, but also for Ian and the Designers Republic. The design of the whole booklet is very much to do with letting the artists speak for themselves. He is not overshadowing them in any way, but giving them full space with very simple designs and full-page images of their work. There is this gorgeous red line down the left-hand side of every page which gives it an originality, as does the extreme A1 size of the print. It also gives it a continuity. There is also a lot of writing in a very informal, conversational tone which invites people in and is not flashy but is rather understated. It shows his love of writing as well as of good design. In conclusion, the ethos of the Designers Republic is focused on concepts and ideas, engagement with audiences, and making people think at the same time as keeping his own sense of beauty and design.